Okay, hi guys, this morning I am working with some silk. What I've got in my hand right here is throwster silk, and it has already been degummed. I wanted to show you how shiny that is. The throwster silk is a part of the silk waste that is left over from the whole reeling and silk making or silk process. So I've never degummed before. This came in my package with the rest of the throwster silk that I had purchased. I got a couple of pounds of it. And so today I am playing with it. I found a handy little guide on degumming throwster's waste from the, let me see what it is again, the Felting and Fiber Studio online. I just did a search because I've never done it before, so I kind of am following their recipe roughly. So in the pamphlet they said to use washing soda and grated up bar soap. So I didn't feel like grating up the bar soap because it takes too much time. So I ended up using the washing soda, and then I'm trying it with this Eco Scour, which is all natural. The website said don't use anything with an enzyme in it. So I'm thinking that from reading the ingredients, this looks like it'll be perfectly fine. So I'm going to give it a try. Now here I've got 2 pots going of the raw throwster silk waste, and you can see that it has different types of silk in here. Oh, well, it's all silk, but different consistencies, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it all feels like a really coarse, like a real coarse hair, almost like a horsehair tail or mane. It's a very interesting texture. So when I boil it down, it is going to take all of that outside off, and it's going to leave me with the shiny silk. So I've never done this before, so I am going to add a little more water. Now you're supposed to only use tepid water, I guess, and then bring it up to a simmer. So right now what I'm doing is adding the water in, obviously, and then I'm pushing all of this silk down. You want to have it so that it's going to be submerged, but not way too much water. You want it just to have enough room to move around and kind of be free-flowing within the water. And then, alright, now I've got it all in the water and it's all pushed down. You can see, look at how it's like this massive glob of silk mess. So what I'm going to do with all of this when I'm finished with the degumming process is I'm going to use it for making kind of a bird's nest art yarn, which is what my plan is for this. When it's all done, I'll dye some and just have fun playing with it. So I need to bring this to a simmer, both of these pots, and then from there I'm going to let it simmer for an hour. So this is this is my first time trying this, so you're all on an adventure with me. I want to show you guys something that's kind of cool that I was just noticing is watching what I think is the bicarbonate or the washing soda reacting in the pot with, I'm just guessing it's the Saracen, and look at the fast bubbles that are happening. It's like a carbonation going on there. Chemical reaction. It's kind of fun. You can see it breaking stuff down. Bubbles are popping and popping. Look at that. Like fizzy. So for me with Renegade yarns, I kind of do things sort of my own way. I don't necessarily follow instructions very well. I like to just start with something as a starting point, which is what I use this thing I found online, which is a great guideline. And so right now we're just going to try and see what works. I tweaked my recipe based on what I had around the house, and with the 2 different levels of degummed silk, or not degummed silk, with the 2 different levels of Saracen on this silk that I've got here, it is going to be a really interesting experiment to see how it degums all together in the same pot. You can kind of see right here, this stuff has got a lot more of the Saracen on the outside of it, so it was a lot crustier harder to pull apart, whereas, and then you can see this stuff here is a little bit finer. So I'm guessing it must be the different grades of silk through that part of the process. I like to experiment, I like to play, and I find that that's how I do my best learning, and I'm able to really discover things, and then I'm going to remember them. So, you know, if I make a mistake, then oftentimes I say that I'm giving myself a class. I don't generally take classes, but when I make a mistake, boy, I sure learn them well. Okay, it's starting to come to a simmer now, so I'm going to sign off, and we'll be back in about an hour to check it in the next video. Thanks. This is Aletha Isaacs from Renegade Yarn Company. Alright, now I've got part 2 of my throwster silk waste in the degumming process. I'm Aletha with Renegade Yarn Company, located out of Oregon. So here is my pot of silk degumming soup. I've taken a piece out and I have it in a colander. So I'm rinsing it in cool and actually in tepid water. Rinsing it in tepid water to remove the washing soda and the soap and the Saracen that has been loosened by the cooking process and the chemicals. Alright, well, I have run this under the water, and I took it and dried it off with the hair dryer a little bit so that you could see the difference. And it is really very soft, it's all nice and shiny, and it looks like white silk. So I'd say that, you know, just using what you've got at home, not having to go out and buy special chemicals, you can actually successfully degum the silk. So I guess the next time I'll be showing you what kind of yarn you can make with this wonderful texture. And I love texture. I'm going to go now and I'm going to be rinsing all the rest of my silk. I will come back later and show you how it all looks. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hi guys, this is Aletha with Renegade Yarn Company out in Oregon. I have my throwster silk now in a bucket of rinse water. I've added a little bit of Synthropol just to help with the last little bit of Saracen that might be clinging onto the silk. I have another bucket filling here with water, just a warm water. I'm going to gradually lower the temperature. And this is going to be a rinse, a second rinse. And after that I'm going to let it sit in a vinegar bath to help restore the pH levels. Okay, I have a turkey roast, not a turkey roasting, a turkey fryer insert that I like to use as a colander for my fiber. It works pretty well if I'm going to just be rinsing in a container, because it can handle a lot, it can hold a bunch, and then it can just continually drain. I'm finding that with every rinse I'm still getting more of the Saracen out. So I want to just rinse under the clear water. It was good to have it soak, and then I'll put the last soak on is going to be with the vinegar. You can see that the water is still discolored, and that's after 2 rinses. So we are making progress on this silk. You can see that I have quite a bit of silk here that I'm going to have to really rinse out. So it's going to take me a little bit, and then I will show the finished product. I like to do everything big. It's a go big or go home. So it might be an Aries thing, I'm not sure, but I love it. Alright, because the silk is so tied together, it's like all just one ball of silk, I'm pulling it apart into sections of smaller bits so that I can get it more thoroughly rinsed. And from there I'm going to put it in the big bucket that I just added white vinegar to. Alright, I squeezed out the water, and now I have it in a vinegar bath. That is warm water, so it's going to sit in here for, I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes. And I'm going to finish the rest of it, and it'll all be in there for 15 minutes. Alright, so as I'm rinsing this, I wanted to let you know that you can feel kind of a slimy feeling on the surface, and I'm rinsing until that goes away because I don't want the gum to settle back on there and then just be sticky and stiff. I wanted to show you guys this. It's kind of cool. I found it while I was rinsing it out. It's balls of the Saracen, which is the gum that coats the silk filaments, and it's kind of squishy. It's kind of gross looking, but it's pretty neat. So a lot of the excess just made these little balls. This was the full amount I got out of 2 pounds. So now it's all in the vinegar rinse water. So here it is, vinegar rinse water. You can maybe see the different textures of the silk in here. I can show more later, but it varies from like something that looks almost like a sponge. It's a real spongy short staple, and it looks like it's more towards the center of the cocoon. I'm guessing this is going to be different grades of the silk, and this is, you know, their throwaway stuff, the silk waste. And then you can see that this is a lot smoother and it's pretty shiny. It's kind of like a really long noil, so it's going to be really great for my purposes, which is going to be for spinning art yarn. All of this is going to get dyed, and so after I'm done with the vinegar water, I'm going to spin it out in my washing machine that I have sitting outside in the backyard. Best thing for a fiber artist is your washing machine that has the water turned off to it. You just spin everything out and you're good. So I'm going to leave the vinegar in because I'm going to be dyeing this within the next week or so it's perfectly safe to leave the vinegar in and just let it dry for now. It'll be acid treated and will help with the dye uptake. So that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for joining me in my little adventure of degumming the silk for the first time.